he's doing his thing there. And it's just really nice to see that, somebody that, and he wasn't by any means a technical guy. He could figure things out, but uh, he wasn't really an audio guy. Watching him grow and develop, and we currently have another young guy who has come in and stepped in to fill that spot. And to watch these guys just pick up and learn, and they didn't have any technical training. They're not professional audio engineers, but they're there, and they just want to help. They're just willing to learn. And so anybody who's looking to learn, looking to participate, you don't have to have a skill.
Hello, my name is Hugh Plappert, and welcome to Church Tech Careers, where we go into the back office of ministry and learn how to uplift our church members and have an impact on our communities through technology. And today's video is brought to you by PhoneLive.io. You don't have to be a computer or AVL expert for God to use you in church tech. We'll learn a lot about that from our guests today. Hello, my name is Hugh Plappert, and welcome to Church Tech Careers. Our guest today is James Meredith. He's the production lead for the Faith Sanctuary of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, our first Canadian guest. James, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Hugh. I'm glad to be here.
So, James, we want to speak to those people that maybe have cold feet or just getting started in helping their churches in the church tech arena. So let's go back to how you got started.
Well, it's interesting. I got started simply because I wanted to volunteer. When I started at Faith Sanctuary, I have a history there. My parents brought me there in the 70s, and my family's been a part of that church ever since. And I had moved away, and when I came back, started to go to that church because we were taking care of my dad, and he was dead set on staying there. So we attended with him, and it was just a matter of talking to the pastor and wanting to get involved and just saying, hey, what can I do? And I actually started in a small little audio section. So at the time, we were just before the pandemic, we were live streaming our services on Facebook. And we had a little mixer board on our balcony where the live mix would have a feed into that board. And my job was just to kind of control that a little bit. I couldn't really do too much, but just kind of monitor that. And from there, it went to monitoring the Facebook feed. And then the pandemic hit, and we kind of upgraded what we were doing. And so I was working alongside one of our audio techs who's actually does that as a career for some pretty big artists. And after the pandemic, he went back on the road. And because I ended up being his right-hand man, I ended up taking over the production aspect of our services.
Wow, very interesting start. So when you said you take over the services, is that audio and video and live stream?
So yeah, I manage the audio and the video. So we have groups of people or team members that do the audio and the video. And so I'm production lead. I manage the people and make sure that, the stations are manned on a Sunday. I dabble a little bit in each, but I quickly realized that there's no way that I can learn all of it. And so just find people that are interested and put them into positions so that they can serve their local church.
Right. So encourage our folks a little bit that doesn't always go smooth. Do you have any war stories to share with them?
Wow. Yeah. When we started broadcasting during the pandemic, I think it was the first Sunday we started broadcasting, and some of the equipment failed during the live service. And so it was trying to figure it out and get it going, because this new aspect of church, watching it online and trying to get people engaged. And so, yeah, that was a pretty interesting time. Just having people coming late or being sick and dropping out and trying to scramble to get things working. We actually had one service where our audio failed. The whole audio just quit in the middle of the preaching. And so it was scrambling, trying to get it back up and running, trying to figure out what's happening and trying to resolve that. So yeah, there's a few stories that I could tell about, being part of this ministry that are pretty interesting. But overall, I mean, technology is like that sometimes, right? It doesn't always cooperate with you, but for the most part, we have infrastructure in place that is pretty solid. So it's nice to have that in place so that we don't have too many of these horror stories that happen during a live service.
Have you ever heard about Matt Hartebal in Miami, Florida? During a choir number, the monitor speakers caught on fire.
Wow.
And then he got up and complained, how come the speakers can't catch on fire when he's preaching?
You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Those are fun times there, aren't there? Now, on the other side of the work that you do, have you seen God use it to impact lives?
Oh, yeah, we regularly have people that are reaching out to us that are watching our live stream that are, just connected. And what's interesting, when I started, we have a Bible study that we do on Mondays, and we decided to stream it to Facebook. And so I kind of jumped on and I was managing kind of the host of Facebook and kind of making sure people behave and they can get connected. And I realized pretty quickly that a lot of these people, like they're chatting to each other in the chat. And I started to read the messages, and I couldn't understand the language. And I was kind of shocked, and I'm like, what is happening? And so I clicked on a couple of the names to see the profiles, and I realized that these were actually people from the Philippines that were watching our broadcast, watching our Bible study. And at that point in time, it was just around 2020, 2021. And I quickly realized that for us, our Monday night Bible study was mostly people watching from the Philippines. And so that was something that really opened my eyes to the impact that what we're doing can have. And I think the time difference is, when we were on at 6:30 at night, it was like 7:30 in the morning there. And so these people, and there was quite a large number, probably 20, 25 of them logging on at the beginning of their day to watch our Bible study before they went about their day. And so I quickly realized the impact that what we're doing can have, globally. Like, it's not
Mhm.
just limited to, our your congregation members or people in your geographical area. You can actually impact people across the globe with what you're doing by putting your services on social media and having that platform.
Yeah, a recent Pew Research survey found out about 47% of the people watching your stream are outside of your church, uh, coming to be blessed and to grow and learn from what you have. That's really cool. What does your setup for your live stream look like?
So right now we're using a Resi server that broadcasts our live stream, and it goes to Facebook, YouTube. It goes to church online platform as well as the phone live stream. So we have those four main platforms that we're using. We have seven cameras. Four of them are stationary, so they're positioned at instruments. So we have quite a bit of setup. We actually had a opportunity to apply for a grant during the pandemic, and so we actually were able to build out a actual production studio. So we're pretty blessed that we have a space where most of the production teams sit. So you have your lyrics, you have your producer, your director, your broadcast audio, kind of all in one area that we can communicate with each other, and kind of, it feels like a real television studio. So it's nice to have that so that we can, do what we do, and make sure we spread the gospel as far as we can.
You mentioned your team. What are some of the team skills that you need to keep that team together, and what are some of the expectations that you had to adjust when working with the team?
Some of the I mean, our philosophy is simply, we just want you to be a member of the team. One of the things I learned in the very beginning is, you don't have to have a skill, you don't have to have, anything special. Just be willing to participate, which is, like I said, the way I started. Just willing to do something, and we can find something within the team concept for you to do. I encourage the team members to just be part of the team. And so I don't bring somebody on because they're a camera person. First, you're a team member. And so we have what I call the fun squad, which is 3 team members that are responsible for organizing events outside of what we do on a Sunday so that you can actually gel as a team and you can work together. And I find that when you have that opportunity to work together and to just enjoy life outside of what you do, it's easier to connect and easier to relate to each other. And so it's really a big push to just join the team. And if you're going to be a camera person and maybe you can't catch the camera idea or maybe you're not passionate, well, we'll switch you over to audio or we'll switch you over to pro presenter for lyrics. We'll fit you somewhere. We just need you to be willing to participate.
Very good. You mentioned church online, and that helps you to be interactive with the people that are watching?
Yes, yeah, it does. So we have service hosts. Currently we have one. We're trying to recruit more, but their job is to just sit there and monitor the chat during the service. It's nice because unlike the other social media like Facebook and YouTube, those chats are public, whereas Church Online, you can isolate your chat so it's just between the service host and the person who's watching the service.
Yeah, that's a really cool tool, and it's free, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I highly recommend that to churches. And then you have a kind of an online pastor who's talking to those folks, connecting with them, getting to know them. That's cool. You also mentioned Phone Live. What audience are you serving with your Phone Live stream?
Mostly the elderly, the sick, and the shut-in. A lot of people that are utilizing that platform are people that maybe aren't technologically advanced. We've been fortunate enough to launch an app just after the pandemic, and so we have our app on Roku TV, a couple other platforms like that. But for some people that are of an older generation, they might not be as tech savvy to download the app on their device. So we have the phone stream so that they can phone in, and it's actually automated if they sign up. So once we go live, they get a phone call saying that Faith Sanctuary is now live and they can just listen to the service. So it's a little bit of the older generation, but we find that it's quite nice to have for them. And it's funny because if there is a situation where there's something wrong with our server and I get text messages all the time going, "Hey, we can't hear. Where's the, so there are people who are actually paying attention and they're using it. And once we start to grow a little bit more, we'll see some of the numbers go a little bit higher on that platform. But we have a fair size congregation with elderly people who love using that platform.
Yeah. We actually serve about 20,000 people every Sunday, and they use the old traditional phone to connect and listen to the services throughout the United States and Canada.
Yep.
So it's gone pretty big. We've done, I think, now over 80 million minutes of
Wow.
broadcasting the gospel. So
Wow.
thank you for using Phone Life. What is your passion that drives you to volunteer?
You know what? My passion is simply I watched my dad for years just volunteer in church, and he was a carpenter, and unfortunately I didn't get that gene. But I've watched him volunteer in church for years and never request anything, just whatever they needed, he was there. And I've watched him over the years. And then I watched how God provided for him because of his sacrifice. And so I realized at a pretty young age that, hey, this God is the best investment banker that you could imagine. He's not going to allow you to utilize your skills and talents for his kingdom and not reward you for it. And so for me, it's just doing what I can, trying to squeeze in where I can to help out, whatever it may be, whatever it may be doing. And so it's just my parents ingrained that in me that if you're coming to church, you got to have something to do. You can't just come and sit and just absorb. You've got to be putting something back into it because that's what you're going to get out of it.
Now, in your secular career, you're not a computer programmer
No,
or systems person. You're not a audiovisual lighting specialist, right?
no.
And you just volunteered. So that's a really cool story to hear that you can step up and do that. So the people who may have cold feet, maybe they're afraid of technology, maybe they think the devil's in the technology. uh, what advice do you have for them to encourage them to step out and go ahead and let God use them.
You know what? I've mentioned this to our team a few times. I said, if you're involved in the tech area in the church, I said, you get to play with all the best gadgets. I said, the other departments don't get toys to play with. We get toys to play with. One of the big things for me is just finding people that are passionate or even have an interest, right? So we have an audio guy, front of house audio engineer, who just came to me and said, hey, can I get involved? I said, sure. And we have a learning platform that we utilize. And so I kind of gave him access to the platform and, gave him some stuff to watch and to learn. And he jumped on it. And he's since been relocated to New Jersey, and he's gone to there, and he's fit right into the church there. And he's doing his thing there. And it's just really nice to see that, somebody that, and he wasn't by any means a technical guy. He could figure things out, but uh, he wasn't really an audio guy. Watching him grow and develop, and we currently have another young guy who has come in and stepped in to fill that spot. And to watch these guys just pick up and learn, and they didn't have any technical training. They're not professional audio engineers, but they're there, and they just want to help. They're just willing to learn. And so anybody who's looking to learn, looking to participate, you don't have to have a skill. Like I said, we have the best toys in the church. There's platforms that you can use to learn how to use the equipment and to advance and to, use your skills. And as your skills grow, God will make room for you to continue to work in his kingdom. So anybody who's maybe scared of technology, you don't have to be scared. You're not going to break it, right? It's technology, and it's there for our use, and it's there for us to use to spread the gospel.
Yeah. I've got over 43 years of volunteering in the church, and my children have taken that on. My son is high skilled at what he does and volunteers at local church, volunteers at the district level, and has volunteered at our headquarters in St. Louis. And God just has a funny way of blessing. And one day he got a call from an organization, saw some of his code in GitHub, and they wanted to use it, and they wanted to know if he would support them if they used his code. That organization was the White House.
Wow.
You put God first, and you never know where he's going to take you.
Yep. That's true.
Wow. Well, so wonderful to visit with you today, James. I really appreciate that. Appreciate your testimony and that spirit of volunteering for your church, even though you're not trained as a technical specialist. And that is so cool. If our listeners wanted to reach out and network with you and connect with you, is there a way that they could do that?
Yeah, my email is pretty simple. It's J as in James, M as in Meredith, at faithsanctuary.com. You can send me an email. We can connect. And I just want to add that it's really fun to see. So like I mentioned, we have our studio that we built out, and we recently had a large UPCI or a meeting in our facility. And it always amazes me because people come in there that are kind of involved in the tech space a little, and they see what we have, and it actually gets them excited, right? That's for me, that's like, I love that, to see other people excited and they can see what's possible. And so, yeah, if you want to reach out to me, we can connect, and I can talk more to whoever wants to chat about the experience, but it all just starts with a willingness to serve. If you're willing to serve, and you don't have to be afraid of technology, just willing to serve, and God will put you where you need to be, and the rest, God will do the rest.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. We appreciate you leaving a review, liking, and sharing this podcast wherever you have joined us. I'm looking forward to next week here on Church Tech Careers as we navigate the back office of ministry and how we can have an impact on our community and uplift the members of our local church. And today's video is brought to you by PhoneLive.io.